Hey there guys, Ormcast back here today with a new video. So I've just come out of theatre. I have seen Venom the Last Dance. So yeah, I've now seen the film and I just wanted to make this video, give you my thoughts as soon as possible really. Just get out there basically. So yeah, I've now seen the film. And obviously this is the last Venom film of the trilogy, because obviously Tom Hardy, he only signed up for a trilogy. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts of this film and what I think of the trilogy overall basically, to be honest. So yeah, let's get into it. So this film is definitely something, I won't lie. It definitely is something. Um, Overall, I had a really fun time with the film. Overall, like, I did have a really fun time with it. I still think, in my opinion, though, like the first Venom film is probably the best one out of the entire trilogy. I would say, to be honest. Um, I'd probably say this is probably like it would probably go Venom, then The Last Dance, and then Let There Be Carnage in last place, to be honest. But this film, it wasn't like a great film, but it was something basically. I still enjoyed the film. It's just like one of those films where you just like, yeah, it's just like you just watch it. Like it's one of those films that, like you just pop on in the background basically if you're at home just like doing like I don't know like chores or something like that, and you just have it on playing in the background just to get through it basically. But yeah, I mean I still really enjoyed this film though. I don't think it was like the greatest story, to be honest. Um, there was definitely some funny bits in it. Like it was more like sort of like it felt like a rom-com sort of thing. Like the relationship between Eddie and Venom is always great in my opinion in the Venom films. So that was amazing in this film, like the relationship, and you really do get like upset, or like you do really feel the emotions towards the end of the film. I won't lie, like it is a good like send off, like, and a conclusion to this trilogy. Um, there is definitely set up and that, like towards the end for like future projects. I'm guessing, for like maybe other Sony project, like Sony Marvel film or something in the future, or like maybe I don't know, maybe Spider-Man 4 or something. Um, but yeah, this is just like my overall thoughts without getting into spoilers basically. um I do think it is a solid film, like a good film. If you want to have a fun time, then yeah, I do recommend it. If you like the first two Venom films, then yeah, go watch it. I recommend it definitely. But yeah, to be honest though, I do I am the ending. I am a bit like bit surprised how it ended. Basically, I did think that something like how it ended did end basically, but I wasn't expecting it the way it went down. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts without spoilers, basically. But now I'm actually gonna go into some spoilers now. So if you haven't seen the film yet, this is probably the part you want to avoid in the video, to be honest. So I recommend go watch the film first and then come back. And yeah, because there is some spoilers I'm going to get into now. So, alright, guys. Right. So basically, like the whole gist of the film, basically. So we learn in the film that Venom and Eddie, through the entire trilogy, so the entire trilogy, since they've been together, it's been a whole year, basically, they've been together. So from Venom, like the first Venom, up to the new Venom, it's been a whole year, basically, apparently. So yeah, that's how long it's basically been. So yeah, they basically start off the film with we get like an introduction to Null, the god of symbiotes, basically, and he's basically been imprisoned and that, and he basically, the only way he can get free is if he gets the codex, which is basically, it's in Venom, basically, I guess, and because Eddie died in the first film, it like activated the codex or something apparently. So yeah, so he's just been imprisoned basically by the symbiotes. So yeah, we learned that the symbiotes came to Earth because they were running from Null and the and Null's like xenophages, I think they were called, the creatures that they fight, the that serve Null basically, and they basically eat they eat symbiotes basically. So yeah, so yeah, they're basically the phages are basically like the main sort of like villains of the film basically, because Null, because I didn't think we were going to see Null till like the end credits or something, because or like the beginning of the film, and that was it. But we did actually see Null like a few times actually in the film, which was actually quite surprising. So I was surprised by that, to be honest. We obviously see him in one of the end credit scenes or post credit scenes. It's like the mid credit scene, I think we saw Null, but we'll get into that later on in the video. But yeah, I was quite surprised the amount of screen time we did get with Null, to be honest. But yeah, so yeah, besides that, the whole Null thing, yeah, so basically after like the codex, so obviously he can get out of his prison and then obviously spread his darkness across the universe, and obviously the symbiotes don't like that, so, and they obviously want to stop that. But yeah, like the beginning of the film, we also get a recreation of the Spider-Man No Way Home end credit scene, basically. So with the bartender, the guy from Ted Lasso, who was the bartender, basically, because we get that little reference to like Thanos, the like purple alien that like stones or whatever, and Eddie's being like drunk and that, taking the mick basically, saying that aliens don't like stones and that, because he's obviously talking about Eddie, but obviously like Thanos, so that's a completely different thing, and that mentioning the whole like things for like 5 years of people gone for 5 years during Infinity War and Endgame. But yeah, so they recreated that end credit scene basically at the beginning of the film, and then obviously we know that he gets sent back to his universe. So yeah, they actually get back sent to the same universe that they were from basically, but in the same bar with the same bartender, just obviously his hair was just slightly different this time, which was quite funny, and the bartender was actually getting a bit freaked out by him, because Venom kind of took over Eddie's body and started making like a cocktail or something. So yeah, and then he leaves a bit of the symbiote in that bar as well, like he did in the MCU in the same bar. And then obviously we see the military and that. I've forgotten the actor's name now, but the guy that plays Mordo in Doctor Strange, basically he shows up because he was playing in this film as well. He was like a general, and he was basically just showed up with his guys, and they captured that symbiote that was left behind, and they actually took that bartender away with them to like Area 55, which is underneath Area 51 because they were demolishing Area 51 because of the whole tourists and all that keep visiting or whatever, which is quite funny. And then they kind of pay that off later on in the post credit scene or the end credit scene. So, but yeah, and then obviously we get Eddie. He takes down some like criminals in Mexico, basically, that were using dogs, basically like a dog fighting ring, basically. We see the xenophage show up on Earth, just one of them at first, and then they decide they want to go to New York, Venom and Eddie. So their whole journey is to get to New York, basically. Well, Venom never made it to New York, let's just say that. Eddie did, but Venom didn't. But yeah, because obviously Venom sacrifices himself towards later on in the film. So yeah, I was quite surprised by that. But what was it? And then we've also got, oh yeah, when they were on their way, they meet like is it Reese Ifan or something? The guy that played the Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. He played a completely different character in this film. Because I know some people are getting a bit confused by that in the trailer or whatever, thinking is this like a whole multiverse thing with him or something? Is he like playing the Lizard somehow again or whatever? But no, he was playing this hippie. He was playing this like hippie sort of character, and his family in this van would pick Eddie and that up basically and took them to Vegas, and then obviously, they obviously were at Area 55 as well, which was quite funny. They saw the final battle between the Xenophage and the Venom and the other symbiotes, which we'll get into. But yeah, I didn't think, because when I saw it in the trailer with that Reese Ifan and his family or whatever, for some reason, I don't know where this rumour came from, for some reason, because people saw the little kid in the trailer, like the little boy or whatever, because there was a little girl as well, but for some reason, people thought that was Peter Parker, and I just thought, no, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony did try to do something stupid like that, but if they had some sense, they wouldn't do that, and I'm glad they didn't do that, because that would just be really stupid, to be honest. Like, I'm glad that was just random family, to be honest, but yeah, they were kind of just there just to get Eddie to one place to another, basically. But they were quite funny though. I didn't think I was gonna enjoy it, because there was one point with the family I was kind of just like, alright, I get where we're at now, like, can we like get on to like the next bit or whatever. I was like that a little bit, but at the same time they were quite funny, and I didn't think I was gonna enjoy that part of the movie, but I actually did, to be honest. I just thought it was quite funny. But yeah, and then they get to Vegas. Eddie steals a tux from a guy that he knocks out. Gets into the casino. That was quite funny. And then we see Mrs. Chan again. And then Venom, I don't know, I don't get this. Venom knew that if he went into like full like symbiote form, that the Xenophage could see him, and he decided to have a dance with Mrs. Chan. Like, he didn't care about risking her life or anything. Like, it was just crazy. I just thought, Venom, are you really gonna risk both Eddie and like Mrs. Chan's lives just to have a dance? But at the same time, it was funny though. The whole dance sequence, I just thought it was a bit silly and funny. But yeah, so yeah, and obviously military and that show up, capture Venom and Eddie. So, and then they get taken to Area 55. Yeah, and and then we've got other characters I want to mention as well in this film. You got it's Patrick Mulligan, who's in Venom Let There Be Carnage, and if I remember correctly, he got impaled or something at the end of that film by is it Shriek and Carnage or something, I think. But you got a bit of a tease of him becoming Toxin in the comics, because in the comics I believe he's Toxin, and obviously we do see that in this film. He does become Toxin in this film, because the whole thing is because Eddie gets framed for his murder, but he's basically been captured and just been put with a symbiote basically. So, but the whole world thinks that Eddie murdered him, and he gets framed. That's why like Eddie and Nat were on the run basically. But yeah, so we get to see him again, which was pretty cool, and he does become Toxin, which was pretty cool. Like Toxin is a really cool character, I won't lie. The only thing though, I wasn't sure about. I don't know why Sony done it. They've like changed the design of Toxin in the film. I mean, they don't really call him Toxin either. But yeah, he was just like a giant green symbiote, and normally he's like, from what I've seen in the comics, he's like the son of Carnage, I believe. He's meant to be like red and black, and then I think there is a little bit of green. Like they kept the green, but they just made the whole symbiote green for some reason. And I remember ages ago, because that was in one of the TV spots or trailers ages ago for this film. That 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 symbiote was in it, and people were wondering, is that meant to be Toxin, or is that meant to be like Lasher or something? But yeah, we do see Toxin, I guess. I'm presuming that's Toxin, or meant to be. But I did see online that apparently the director of the film, if anyone was going to go up against Null, like in the comic books or something, like Toxin would be a good player to go up against Null. But I don't know how they'd do that, because Toxin dies in this. So yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that, if they ever want to do that. So yeah, I don't know how they would do that. I mean, it's comic books. You can bring back anybody, can't you? So I'm sure they'll probably figure out a way if they do. But yeah, it was cool seeing Toxin, if that was Toxin. But yeah. Another characters we had was Juno Temple's character, and her friend. I've forgotten the actress's name. Because Juno Temple played like Dr. Payne or something. And then later on in the film, her and her friend and a bunch of other scientists in the film at Area 51 do get symbiotes when the xenophage attacked the base, basically. Yeah. So I did actually like the backstory with Juno Temple's character, because she got like struck by lightning when she was younger, when her and her brother were running together or something, and I think her brother died, and her brother wanted to become like an astronaut or something for NASA, or go into space. So that's why she kind of like started studying like these symbiote aliens to follow in his footsteps, I guess, which was pretty cool. But yeah, and it kind of paid off at the end as well with her character arc, which I quite liked. And I'm assuming because her friend, it seemed like she became, well, at first she had the Venom symbiote on her, so she was like She-Venom or whatever, which we have seen with Anne in the other two films. But her friend, I'm presuming her friend was meant to be Lasher, the way the other symbiote that went on her was, which was a bit more green, and Lasher has the sort of blade, sort of like symbiote things basically. But Dr. Payne. See, the thing is, this is just a classic Sony thing, and I'm actually surprised that This got spoiled in Fortnite. Of all the places, it got spoiled in Fortnite. So if you've seen what's in Fortnite, basically, and if you've seen the film, she becomes Agony, basically. Like the purple pink symbiote with like the sort of long hair, sort of like Scream as well, but she has like the speed sort of powers because of the lightning strike and that. Because she has like the scars from the lightning strike and that as well. But yeah, she becomes Agony, which was really cool. I really like the design of Agony and the other symbiotes in this. But like, come on, like Fortnite spoiled this before the film even come out. Like, of all the places, I just thought, because they added Agony and She-Venom into Fortnite recently, like before the film come out, and I just thought, right, okay, She-Venom makes sense because She-Venom is like been around for like a few years now, like with the other two Venom films, so I could understand why they probably added that into the game, and we obviously got Venom and like Carnage and that in the game for Fortnite as well. But when I saw Agony, and I thought, I really hope this ain't a spoiler from the film, but from the new film, and it was, and I just thought, why have you done that? Like, I wish like companies just wouldn't do that, because it does take away from the experience a bit. So I just wish they just didn't do that, but that's just classic Sony for you. They must have just got in contact with Epic and been like, oh, here we go, we've got a new symbiote we're introducing, you want to add it to Fortnite? Yeah, we'll do that, make some money off the skins and that. But yeah, I mean, that's just me complaining about that. But yeah, I just wish that didn't get spoiled, to be honest. But yeah, she survives. I'm assuming the way her story arc in the film ends, that she'll probably have some sort of role in a future project, I'm guessing, because you've now got Agony just running around the world now. So I'm guessing that's what they're going to do. But who knows? But yeah, and then obviously, the General, Venom and the General basically sacrifice themselves at the end of the film. Just sacrifice themselves to save everyone, pretty much. And they die basically. But we did see earlier in the film that the bit of the symbiote that they captured off Venom might actually still be around though, which is interesting, because there was one end credit scene with the bartender I told you guys about earlier, where he leaves the facility. It's just meant to be like a sort of jokey like post credit scene, basically, like with like what other Marvel films do, basically, where you have a set up post credit scene and then you have like another one where it's just like a gag or a jokey sort of one. But yeah, you see him leaving the facility basically after the battle. And he's just freaking out because he doesn't know where he is. And then we see the vial that's been cracked and a cockroach just like running towards it. And at first, when I was in the theatre, I couldn't tell if that was just a normal cockroach or if that was a venomized cockroach or something, because earlier in the film we saw Venom go onto a horse, a fish and a frog and that, basically. So I couldn't tell if it was when I first saw it, but it was just like, when watching that post-credit scene, it did feel like, is that it at the same time? because I didn't think it was going to like end the way it did, basically, but I don't know. But yeah, there was that post-credit scene. We do have another post-credit scene I want to talk about, but I just want to talk like the very end after Venom and that died. So we see Eddie wake up in the hospital, and he's basically greeted by this general who basically said that his criminal record that he was framed for, I guess, has all been like pardoned or expunged basically. So, but if he does talk about this, then he will be put in like some sort of prison if he does talk about it. So yeah, guys, he just has his record all clean, but obviously Venom is gone now. So yeah, it's just not there anymore, I guess, the symbiote. So yeah. Yeah, so Eddie, just to honour Venom's memory in that, he did go to New York and he did go visit the Statue of Liberty because that's what they wanted to do, was visit Lady Liberty, as they said earlier in the film, basically. So yeah, it was quite a nice ending, basically, for that. But yeah, because we know this might, because I think they wanted to go to New York to go meet Spider-Man in the other universe anyway, so they were going to go to New York no matter what, either way, if it was in the MCU or in the Venom universe, I guess. So either way, they went to Eddie got to New York, but obviously we know Venom never did. But I don't think Venom is dead, to be honest, because you got that bit of the symbiote that was in the vial, and you still got a bit of his symbiote that he left in the bar in the MCU. So I mean, I still think that like if Spider-Man 4 or either like Secret Wars or Doomsday or something, Tom Holland's Spider-Man will probably get the black suit, like either way, and get his own like symbiote arc, I guess. Because it makes sense though, because people want to see that like eventually. It's just obviously Sony and Marvel have both got to play ball, that's the only thing. So yeah, but yeah, other than that, the first post credit scene was obviously the big setup. We see Noel, and he's got the Necro sword and that, and it starts lighting up basically. So it seems like Noel is gonna be a big bad either in this Sony Spider-Man universe, or maybe there's a rumor about he might be the villain for Spider-Man 4, because Spider-Man 4, when I'm making this video, because it's being directed by the Shang-Chi director basically, and I did see, it's Destin Daniel Cretton who did Shang-Chi. Spider-Man 4 is now being released July 24th 2026 in theatres apparently, so it's got a date now and it's starting to film next year. And I think it is coming out between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So there's just a big rumour going around that Noel might be the villain in that, and we might have Venom in that film as well. So yeah, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man might get the black suit either in one of those three films like Doomsday or like Spider-Man 4 or Secret Wars or something, because we see Noel, and I don't think Noel would be in Secret Wars or Doomsday, because obviously Doctor Doom is going to be the big bad for those that we know, or and maybe Kang, who knows. But yeah, but I reckon if they do go down at Spider-Man 4, that Noel might be the villain, because he's basically saying, oh, now that Venom is gone, your protector, I am coming and I am going to destroy everything and like spread my darkness around the universe basically. So obviously he was talking about that universe, but the thing is though, in the comics he's like a multiversal threat now, so I wouldn't be surprised if the next Spider-Man is going to be like a multiversal story again, because I think that's what Sony wanted. But yeah, guys, it was cool. This film, like I said, it was cool. Like I like the different symbiotes. Like we've got looks at like different like symbiotes, like Toxin, Lasher. I think you see Phage as well, who's like the short, like big, like muscly sort of swole one, basically. But the other symbiotes that we see in the film were kind of just like random symbiotes. I don't think they were like symbiotes from the comics. But yeah, I might be wrong. But yeah, you guys can correct me down in the comments below. But yeah, guys, overall, I did enjoy the film. I did have a fun time with it. And yeah, I just wanted to give you my thoughts. But yeah, we'll just have to see what the future is going to be with this Spider-Man's project. We know Spider-Man Noir's on the way. Craven's coming out later this year, so we'll see how that goes. Obviously, Spider-Man 4 is coming as well, so yeah, guys. But I want to know what your thoughts on the film was of Venom the Last Dance. And did you enjoy the film? Did you enjoy the entire Venom trilogy overall? And I'm just assuming that Tom Hardy will be back eventually to play Venom because he wants to fight Spider-Man, and I'm guessing it will happen. But yeah, guys, if you enjoy this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment down with your thoughts. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.